Hello, we are very excited to still have you with us for more Explore Tulsa.
Tell you what, Trish, I love watching new movies. And not only is Johnny Depp's new flick getting great reviews, it also has some ties to crimes that happened in Tulsa years gone by.
Our friend John Erling recently interviewed Mike Huff, a Tulsa police detective first on the scene at the Southern Hills Country Club shooting that would later be linked to the mobster depicted in the movie Black Mass.
Well, the story of the murder of Roger Wheeler, who was the president of Telex Corporation in Tulsa, begins with the Boston Winter Hill Gang and its leader, Whitey Bulger. Now, Whitey Bulger sent his men to Tulsa and Southern Hills Country Club to murder Mr. Wheeler. Wheeler was the owner of World High-Lie, and he discovered an embezzlement scheme within his company. Now, it was May 27, 1981, when Roger Wheeler had finished a round of golf. And the clubhouse manager was George Mattson. And Roger Wheeler spoke his last words to George as they were talking about Roger's golf handicap.
As a matter of fact, we were kidding each other, and he said, George, you better take care of my handicap because these people are going to kill me. I says, oh, Roger, we'll check the handicap. And sure enough, here it is. He hasn't walked out to the car. There was a bang.
You heard it.
Yes.
You heard a bang.
Yes.
Now, the time was a little after 4 o'clock on that Wednesday afternoon. And 25-year-old Tulsa Police Detective Mike Huff, along with some of his colleagues, heard on the radio that a shooting had taken place at Southern Hills Country Club. So Mike was the first detective on the scene. So tell us what you saw when you looked in that car.
Well, Mr. Wheeler was seated in a late model Cadillac. He was dressed in a suit. He had a leather gym bag, workout bag with his golf clothing in it. Just had this. You knew that there was a successful Southern Hills Club member seated behind that wheel and shot between the eyes.
But it was one bullet that was fired into his body.
Absolutely. There was just one bullet fired, which kind of makes you think that somebody knew what they were doing.
And the man from Boston, Johnny Mortorano, knew what he was doing. For he and his accomplice, Joe McDonald, were waiting in their car for Wheeler to head to his car. This is according to Detective Mike Huff.
Johnny gets out of the passenger side. Once he sees Wheeler committing to that car, and then as Wheeler gets seated, he opens the door, fires one shot. The gun falls apart. It's a faulty revolver. He had a little .38 revolver. The gun fell apart, which really upset him. The live rounds fell to the ground. He kind of trots back to the car. They went out. They dumped the stolen car, got back in their regular car, went back to the trade winds, sawed up the gun, dumped it somewhere in the river near 51st and Riverside.
Arkansas River.
The Arkansas River,
right.
Yes, sir.
And then Johnny Mortorano and Joe McDonald shipped their weapons back to Boston on a Greyhound bus from downtown Tulsa. They then drove to Oklahoma City to return their rental car, and then they boarded a plane to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now let's remember, the mafia from Boston comes to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the early 80s, and here we are, this very quiet community. As Mike Huff says,
but what happened when this murder, it took a part of this community away. I mean, first of all, the peaceful sanctity of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Southern Hills Country Club, one of the most prestigious in the country. Telex Corporation, they fed 4,000 or 5,000 people just in their company alone. They put groceries on the table, high-paying jobs for a lot of people. That went away. This was like a bomb in this city, and people don't understand the fallout was continuing for years, literally.
So immediate suspicions led to speculation that the murder was a mob hit, even looking at Oklahoma City. But the relentless pursuit of many, many years by Tulsa Police Detective Mike Huff led the investigation to Boston in the eventual indictment and conviction of Stephen Fleming, Johnny Mortorano, and after 16 years on the run, Whitey Bulger. And now the story of Whitey Bulger is depicted in the film Black Mass, and the full interview with Detective Mike Huff with many, many more details can be heard on voicesofoklahoma.com.